All right, how's it going, Eric? Thanks for chiming in, buddy. Appreciate it. Wow, this really seems laggy. I'm gonna have to figure this out for next week. You, yeah, I'm gonna get into it, Eric. I'm gonna talk about it real quick. There's a few things that pressing that I really need to talk about. Get some stuff out there because I've got a few people asking me about Stark's performance and EFI specialties and what's all going on there. So hey, what's up, Hard Rock? So we're gonna talk about that first, and then I'll talk about where Shake and Bake is real quick, just to set the scene for everyone, and then we'll talk about this weekend and kind of where we're going from here. And then hopefully you guys in the chat will keep me going again. I'll be right back in a second. All right. All right. Hi, Chris. Thanks for chiming in, buddy. I appreciate it. I know this is a tough time for you, but I appreciate you chiming in. I appreciate everyone chiming in. We got 10 people here, so let's kind of get started. So first off, I've had a number of questions, a number of concerns, a number of comments, a number of DMs, you name it. All right, that's pretty funny, Eric. But so the relationship between Stark's performance and maintenance and I has not changed at all. So they are still on my list. They still have done some work with Shake and Bake. Matter of fact, they put the transmission in. They were the ones that found the problem with the 5.7. And the main reason why I didn't have Stark's performance and maintenance do the engine and replace everything is because when I talked to Mike about it, I said, Mike, we need to be serious here for a second. Can you get this done before Rocky Mountain Race Week? And he said, Don, there's no way. I am just way too busy. So I took that and I said, look, Mike, I said, I've put way too much money into Rocky Mountain Race Week already. and I'm about to dump a bunch more money in to get to Rocky Mountain Race Week. And he was fine with that. And I said, look, I am going to find someone. Mac had already stepped up. So I told him, I said, look, I'm going to EFI Specialties. I'm going to Mac. He already said that he'll squeeze me in and, we'll get the work done and get me set up for Rocky Mountain Race Week. And Mike was fine with that. But to be honest, if it wasn't Mac and EFI Specialties, I would have went somewhere else. Or Jay even offered up the, hey, let's do it in my garage. So in some shape or form, no matter who it was or where I went, we were going to be ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week. Well, I was doing my absolute best to be prepared and ready for Rocky Mountain Race Week. But like I said, Mac had already stood up and said, hey, we'll get the work done. You come in, every night and do some work, and I'll squeeze you in, and Dave will squeeze you in on the dyno and get it tuned up. So that's what happened with Star's performance maintenance. Not a fallout. Mike and I are still great friends, and there's probably things I'll go to him for. Sometimes I need some maintenance stuff done. I have no problem going to Mike. If it comes to another push come to shove kind of deal, and Mac's out of town or Mac's busy, and I need some performance work done, and Mike just steps up and says, "Hey, I'll do it." I have no problem going back to Stark's Performance and Maintenance. So for those of you that were worried, there is no worry. There's no falling out with me and Mike. Stark's Performance Maintenance. It's just he flat out told me, said, I cannot get your work done, no matter which route we go. I said, look, we got to go one of three routes. Either we fix the 5.7 that's already in there, or we take all of the good parts from the 5.7 that's in there, put it in my original 5.7 block and forge it and put it in, or I'm going to have to get a brand new engine. And, it was really us that decided, like, hey, getting a new engine is probably the quickest and easiest way to get it done. But he told me flat out he could not get me in. And, that kind of made the decision for me, like, okay, I've got to get this done, Mike. So I'm going to go elsewhere to get it done. So yeah, don't think just because I didn't have Stark's Performance Maintenance do the work on my car that I'm never going back to them, or we had a falling out or whatever. That is far from the case. So I'm going to do another video probably tomorrow, pretty much stating the same thing that I just told you. It may be even a short video. I know anything under 8 minutes doesn't get monetized, but this one I really don't care. I just want to make sure everyone knows that it's not my. We didn't have a falling out. It's not my confidence that Mike and Matt can do the work. That had absolutely nothing to do with it. So I just want to put that. I know there's only 8, 10, 12 people here popping in and out, but I just want to make sure everyone knows that it's not my confidence in their work and the work that they do. It's just he couldn't get me in. So enough of that. So most of y'all watch my videos, so you probably seen the last video where we're at with Shake and Bake. We are in the same shape we were in for Rocky Mountain Race Week. Still the questionable converter, and we're on the stock PCM, which is both of those are obviously holding us back. Yeah, we were running in, almost 5,000 DA a couple of those days. Most of the days were in the high 3s, low 4s, which is something I'm not used to. So you guys that like always saying, yeah, we got 4,000 or 5,000 DA. I feel for you. I really do feel for you. But that's just something I'm not used to. So now that we're back here, so while I was gone, I also said, I'm pretty sure I said this in the video, but maybe I kind of glanced over it a little. While I was gone, Mac and Dave sent the Gateway back to B3 Racing to get some more work done. To hopefully now they're sending it back. Now that I'm back, they're sending it back to Mac. And once he gets a hold of it, I'll take a drive down there. We'll put the Holly back in, hook it all back up, which literally takes a few seconds. It doesn't take long at all. It's just swapping the PCM out for the Gateway. It's really just that simple. So once we get that back, we're going to test it again. Let's see if there's any more gremlins we have to address with B3 Racing and Race. I think Race is the company that makes the Gateway. To see if there's any additional gremlins that we need to address. Hopefully within the last week, they got all that stuff figured out, and we come back probably early next week and throw the Gateway back in there hook up the Holly, and everything works. That's my hope. If that happens, we're gonna go ahead and put the torque converter in as well. Mac is obviously shuffling some things for me again, but this is just to get Shake and Bake into her best form, to show all of you folks that, hey, Shake and Bake is that low 9, high 8 second car, which we all know. I know most of you folks in the chat know racing, know cars, know modifications, and you guys know that she's definitely that low 9, high 8 second car. But we're gonna get there. It's just gonna take us some time, and yeah, so we're gonna get there. So speaking of people that made all of this happen, they're all up here. I don't want to go too high. My camera's not that high. So they're all over here. So obviously EFI Specialties and Mac, Rocky Mountain Race Week would have never happened if he wouldn't have stood up and said, "Hey, I can get you in, Dawn. We'll make it happen." So, and again, that's the main reason why I went with him, because Stark couldn't do it and he stood up. Modern Muscle Extreme, y'all heard me talk about them 1,000 times. They did the drop-ins. Actually, they shipped 2 shipments and didn't charge me for the second one. So they overnighted 2 things. They overnighted the pistons and rods, so we could get started, and then they overnighted the bearings as well. So because the bearings weren't in stock when I ordered everything, and they said, all right, we'll just ship them out whenever we get them. So shout out to Modern Muscle Extreme. Cam Motion, you guys know, heard it 1,000 times. We literally had a cam within like 3 days. And that's super fast. For those that know about ordering cams, having one in 3 days is super fast. I mean, literally, the day Mac gave them the specs, they were probably grinding on that cam, because it probably took 2 days, 2 or 3 days to get 2 days, probably a day or two to get to us. Anyway, so that's Cam Motion. B3 Racing, y'all heard me just talk about them. Pure, due to us trying to get the Holly in and get the Holly and the race gateway done, we just ran out of time to put in the torque converter that Pure sent to us. So what we're going to do is, once we get the Holly figured out, we'll get that in there. We'll get the one that's in it pulled out, ship it off to them, have them cut it open, and see what it actually looks like inside there. And then that'll be time for a conversation with Sipple to see if they're going to do anything, because of, if it's totally 100% stock, I'm going to be really upset. I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt, even though the car stalls up at 2250, 2200. I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt for now. HHP, I order parts through HHP all of the time, and they are 100% on it. 100%. Every time I order something from them, I get all the updates. It's shipped. It's on its way. It's been delivered. All of that from HHP. That's why I have them up there. And y'all know Stark's Performance Maintenance. I do a lot of work with them, a lot of stuff with them. Matter of fact, I just bought a bunch of oil and an oil filter to do my oil change from Stark's Performance Maintenance. So, you know, they are a big part of Shake and Bake as well. All right, so now I'm done with that spiel. Let me get to the comments here. Eric, yeah, lots of fun. Mike, are you still going to twin turbo the car? I think eventually, but to be honest, I dropped a significant amount of money just to get to Rocky Mountain Race Week. So the recovery from those expenses, and I'm still paying on a lot of it, a lot of the stuff. and you know, still paying Mac for his work and Dave for his work, and I'm still paying for parts. So it's going to be a while. Probably mid next year would be probably the earliest. Maybe the end of next year. Uh, maybe the end of next year. I just don't know for sure. Really depends how YouTube goes, and you guys can look at the views. Some of these videos aren't doing as well as I thought they might have been doing. So we'll have to see how you know, how YouTube goes and how fast I can catch back up. So the plan is still twin turbo the car. Mike, good background. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Eric, that's fair. Mac can do everything and has dyno there. Besides, Mac has did work on shake and bake already. Yeah, I've and to be honest, for me, it's a little bit more settling for me to just have one person doing the work on shake and bake vice 2. You know, sometimes when you get too many hands in the pot, you know, things things fall through, things don't get done right. You know, the left hand's not talking to the right hand, and you get into issues. And we did some of that with shake and bake. So now it's, you know, completely in Mac's hands in EFI specialties. So it is much better that way. But stay tuned. Starks Performance Maintenance is also getting a dyno as well. So you heard that here first. Having more than enough capable mechanics is not a bad thing, especially if they're caliber 100%. Right? You always want to have a couple people in your hip pocket because so these guys are always busy. All of them are always busy, no matter who you go to. Everybody's busy, you know, working on cars. So it's good to have a couple people in your hip pocket to where, you know, you can shuffle things around, and especially Stark and Mac have a great relationship as well. So that's always been a good thing. Eric, what has been done to the Holly to make it work? So it's all logic, really. It's all in the gateway and how it translates the stock sensors into the Holly Dominator. So it's not the Holly, it's actually the gateway, and it's all logic because that gateway was designed. You heard me say this 1,000 times. The gateway was designed. The gateway and the plug-in harness was designed for a Hellcat. And that being said, the logic in a Hellcat PCM is far and away different from the logic in a 6.4 or a 5.7 PCM. So, and this is the first time B3 Racing in that gateway has been put into a 5.7/6.4, right? So it was just going through, you know, what's the difference between a Hellcat and the 6.4 5.7, and them going in and reprogramming it. So it's just been a lot of software stuff, a lot of reprogramming. So calling it the Holly isn't really fair to Holly because it's not Holly itself. It's actually the gateway made by Race. That was the problem. Yeah, 100% quick turnaround. Marie, hello, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. What's up, all? How's it going, Street's car? All right, Mike. I think I already answered that question, so we're gonna keep on going. Eric saying hi to Marie. Isaac, what's your thoughts of the RIP supercharger? Thinking about supercharging my 22 Dodge XXT Plus. Yeah, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with RIP superchargers and the 6 cylinders. I did have a buddy of mine that we kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. It was riding with Wolf. He had the RIP supercharger on his SXT, and he loved it. I mean, he even let me drive the car, and it drove extremely well. It was really nice. I was impressed. So yeah, I would say go for it. I would say go for it. Eric's going back to Mike. Marie Joe's here too. All right, Joe. All right, Joe. Thanks for showing up, buddy. I appreciate it. There's still more in the D1. We're gonna find out. So we did put the 3-2 pulley on there for Rocky Mountain Race Week. So we did pulley down, which with the 18% lower maxes per Pro Chargers charts maxes out the D1X at 62,000. I think it's 62,000 or 64,000 RPMs. One of those two, I think. So we are right on the edge of the max for the D1X, but it's you know the deal, Mike. It's all about getting uh, the Holly stuff straightened out. The race, the gateway stuff. I'll start calling it the gateway because it's not fair saying it's Holly, but it's because it's not Holly. Once we get the gateway stuff figured out, and we get the torque converter in there, and we get to the track and really see what Shake and Bake can do, I think there's going to be a lot of surprise people from that D1X for sure. I think Pro Charger with the Holly should squeeze out a few more horse. I think we're going to too. I think there's no doubt about it. I think the Holly Dominator is much more efficient than the stock PCM. So yeah, we're gonna see how it's going. Uh, Mike's going to Eric. Eric's going back to Mike. I could just get a F1 unit and bolt it in place. That's true too. I could go F1 A94, which is the largest Pro Charger we can put on without having to change bracketry and all of that stuff. Um, I could do that. That's definitely an option, but I think we're looking. I think I'm just going to run it with the D1X until I catch back up. Like I said earlier, until I catch back up and get into the twin turbo side. Why not just maxing out what you can get from the Pro Charger versus changing twin turbo? Chris, that's what I'm doing. That's what we're gonna do. Um, it just fell out this way that now we have a lot more time with the D1X than we originally were gonna do. So, yeah, I was looking to go twin turbos earlier this year, but then the transmission thing happened, and then the engine thing happened. So the twin turbos are definitely on the back burner. So we've definitely got plenty of time to find out the max of the D1X in the setup we currently got. So yeah, we're gonna do that. Mike, pretty close to max on the D1X now. We are. So there are a lot of people out there in the Chevy world that overspin Pro Chargers. A couple thousand RPMs, 5 to 7,000 RPMs. So we could possibly do that. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. So there probably still is a little bit of room with the D1X. We'll just have to see how it goes. I just have to go back and look back at this. All right, Marie. I'm not sure if that's Marie or Joe talking, but I got you. Mike, look up Walker Induction Solution on Facebook. He makes turbo kits for V6. Now that would be interesting, man. A turbo kit on the V6. Nice shout out, Mike. That's a nice shout out right there. Um, yeah, interesting. My background removal is not as working. You can see right over here, it's not working quite as good as it should be. I went from my green screen to a background removal plug-in, so I'm gonna have to remove that plug-in and go back to the green screen because the green screen worked much better. Mike, gonna say 889. I think it's definitely got eights. I'm not sure how far in the eights it can go, but I definitely has eights in it. Eric, heck yeah, Mike, 891. Yeah, yep. One of us will get the number for sure. For sure. Hard Rock. My impressions on Shake and Bake on the race trip. Great 9-second run, Don. Seems like the car was pretty herky jerky on some runs, but then great shifting on the other runs. Torque converter. Yeah, it was. It was the torque converter, and then we were running into gathering some other comments and actually looking at the videos. Maybe she spun, and that's why it hit the rev limiter there in Mocan Dragway on that first run, and that's why we short shifted on the second run. So it could be a lot of things, but the torque converter is definitely a problem. Is definitely holding us back because we were getting low one in decent weather. We were getting low 1.4s when I was running the 5.7 with the 4,000 stall torque converter. So I think once we get the 4,000 stall torque converter in there and the gateway stuff figured out, I think we'll be able to clean all that stuff up. It's going to take some time, but we'll be able to clean all that stuff up. But yeah, appreciate the support, Hard Rock. There's many more 9-second runs we probably could have had out there. It was more Don having to learn a new staging technique to be able to get those lower 60 foots and get into the 9 seconds and the low 10s. As evident in the first runs in Tulsa were terrible. Were terrible. And then once we got to Texas Motorplex, I started getting. We did some. Jay and I actually did some practice. We never really launched, but going through the process of doing what Mac wanted me to do to get the torque converter stalled up. And then, we got a good run in Texas. We got a good run at Thunder Valley. We got a 10-1. I think it was Thunder Valley. We did the 10-1. And then we got to Mocan and did a 10-3 with short shifting because we ran into that issue hitting the rev limiter. So yeah, it was the first seat time for me in the car. So that's what a lot of people don't see and don't understand. It was a brand new transmission. So we literally transmission maybe had 100 miles on it. The engine was brand new, literally had probably 100 miles on it. And I had 0 seat time. So my first time down the track was in Tulsa. So I said this in the video too, right? Old dog, new tricks. Takes me a while to get stuff into my routine to make it routine for me. I've got to do it a few times, and it took me a few times to get used to it. So that's kind of why the herky jerky and the swings in the times was more me than it was necessarily the car. But definitely the car can run faster than the 997, even in that weather. That was a 9.5-ish, 9.4-ish car in, that 4,000, 5,000 DA level. I definitely think the car would have ran in that 9.5 area. So Hard Rock, hopefully that answers your question. High Tide, what's a good mod for starters on a 5.7 Hemi? There's a lot of them. You can do. I know I've talked bad about cold air intakes in the past, but you can do a cold air intake. Will help things a little bit. You can do a catback exhaust. That will help you a little bit as well, as long as it's a straight through catback exhaust. So if you're wanting performance, make sure it's straight through. If you want some great sound, Flowmaster and their chambered mufflers are really, really great for sound. I really love the Flowmaster when it comes to sound. But when it comes to performance, those chambered mufflers do hurt you a little bit. Uh, Not enough that normal folks won't notice, but us folks at the track would definitely notice. So, just to get you started, cold air intake, catback exhaust, and then you get into the harder things, like you can do a cam, long tube headers. I would suggest when you do the cam, you do the long tube headers, and a tune. You can always do a tune. Even a tune with a 5.7 wakes that car up quite a bit. A custom tune. So there's your first three. Kind of cold air intake, catback exhaust, get a custom tune, be it Diablo or HP tuners. And then you can go start cracking into the engine with the cam and the lifters and long tube headers and all that stuff. Mike, think if I remember, he had a V6 making 400 rear wheel. I think it was in that 400 range with the RIP supercharger. I know we're going back to the V6 and the RIP supercharger conversation. I think he did. I think it was a tad over 400, if I'm not mistaken. Marie, you going to change transmission to a turbo 400? Asked by Joe. That may be down the road. Maybe not a turbo 400, maybe a 4L80. Well, we'll see. Mac has been talking to me about doing a 4L80 instead of a turbo 400, which basically just has that overdrive gear, which is good for daily driving type stuff. But we'll see in the future. I'm gonna see. We just dropped 8-9K to get the 90 built. So, and we really haven't tested it yet, other than those few runs during Rocky Mountain Race Week, which weren't really all out runs because we were down on power. But yeah, I mean the Turbo 400, 4L80 are in the conversation in the future. Gateway to the eights. Yep. So Turbo 400. So yeah, so could be in the future, but I want to get my money's worth out of the built 90 if I can. The Gateway is more tunable. So you're tuning on the Holly. The Gateway just translates your stock sensors from the CAN bus. I know I'm getting a little technical. From the CAN bus to Holly language, so then you can tune it using the Holly Dominator. So the Gateway is just a translator per se of languages. So the sensors and the Holly kind of can talk, and it's both ways, right? So the Gateway goes both ways. It takes the sensor stuff, turns it into Holly, takes the Holly stuff, turns it into sensor stuff, and sends it back out. So yeah, the Gateway, you don't necessarily tune the Gateway, you tune the Holly Dominator. I see you. Hopefully that's laughing, not crying. Maybe it's crying. I'm not sure. Mike, depends on your budget. That's true too. Budget is always concern. MVRP race exhaust, that's a good one. Uh, you know, Magnaflow and their X mod is a good one. You can change things out and make it sound different. I like the Borla exhaust, the ATAC. It's a little raspy for a lot of people. But if you get like the MVRP or the AWE exhausts, you're going to get much deeper tone out of those than you do from a Borla. Corsa is right up there with Borla in kind of raspiness, a little higher pitch, but they're all great exhausts. Hi, Dad. Definitely looking forwards on catback exhaust. I have a straight. Yeah, straight I almost got to the point of straight pipe, but the drone was just ridiculous. I had to do something. Eric, I love my MBRP exhaust. Yeah. Um, exhausts are one of those things you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers, and they all love their exhaust. Right. Um, but it's just YouTube's not the best for sound clips, but you can at least get some of the different tones from listening to some of the different exhausts on YouTube or IG or something like that. So you can get some kind of sound out. 6 more manifold on your on a tight budget. Yeah, the 6 more manifold is also a good one. The only reason I didn't really, Mike, the only reason I didn't suggest that up front is there's some work involved there. There's some wiring and some other stuff. Now I know MMX has the USB, or not USB, the ODB2 little plugin that's supposed to run those runners. I've heard a lot of problems come out of those. Don't know if they fixed those issues or not, but I've heard a lot of problems coming out of the MMX short valve runner controller. So if you do go, 6 full manifolds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, 6 4 manifolds. I went on a whole tangent for nothing. 6 4 manifolds is also a good mod. Hi Ty, thanks for the feedback response. Hey buddy, that's why we do this. That's why we do Wednesdays, man. We put out so much information from we put out a lot of information on Wednesday nights. I mean, we go through a lot of stuff, especially going through the comments, and you get a lot of input from a lot of people that have a lot of experience from here in the group. So that's kind of why I love this thing. I mean, I learn a lot of stuff just sitting here from people in the chat answering questions. But yeah, high tide, that's what it's all about, buddy. Hugh, goal budget plan. Hugh's hitting you with my big 3. He's hitting you with my big 3. Goal, budget, and a plan. One bad plum. Yeah, set your goals. Yep. High tide, understood. Mopar family. So far, I got a catch can, quarter intake, staggered rims, and ported throttle body. That's a great start, man. That's really a good start. No doubt. But yeah, like Hugh and Chris, one bad plum, are saying, like, define what you're. Got it. Your goals can change. I keep changing my goals all the time. Everybody asks me what's my goals because I always say get your goals out first. And here I am, kicking my goals every time I turn around. But you can do that. It's just you have to be prepared for what that means in the long run. So as I kicked my goals down the road, I bought things 2, 3, 4 times. Where if I would have just said, okay, my goal is to run low 9s, I could have just set that goal, came up with a plan, came up with a budget to get there, and arguably things would have been much cheaper, and I wouldn't have had been doing things 2, 3, 4 times over. So that's why it's good to have a goal, a plan, and then the budget to go along with all that. Budget out the window, more power. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, budgets do go out the window, but just some forward thinking will save you money in the long run. Randy, hey Don, I'm going with the 93 tune right now on a stock 5.7, still deciding which forced induction, maybe Maggie with turbos. Oh, you're talking about going compound boost. That's a whole nother conversation. I haven't seen a whole lot of compound boost. I know one bad plum, he was doing some work with compound boost. I I just, I, I just, I just don't know. You don't see it in the mainstream. So for me, it's like if it's not in the mainstream and you don't see a lot of the really fast cars doing it, then it must not work quite as well as it sounds like it should. I don't know, Chris. You can beat me up. You can beat me up in the comments here in a second. But just my simplistic view and my opinion. I have no facts. I have no experience with compound boost. But like I said, if it was, if it was that great, everybody would be doing it, or a lot of people would be doing it. So to be honest, I would save yourself money and go with one or the other, either the Maggie or turbos. Ever hear of Cetera Tuning near Chicago? Absolutely. They are one of the better tuners out there in the market today. So you can definitely, if that's where you're looking at going to, they are one of the better tuners out there. One that I would feel comfortable going with if I had to, if that helps. Eric, we have to change ring gap if you go turbo. No, boost is boost. And one bad plum may beat me up later in the comments too, but really, boost is boost. The car doesn't care where it comes from. If you're running 8 pounds of boost, your rings are going to see 8 pounds of boost. So my rings are gapped per MMX instructions of going over 25 pounds of boost. So we shouldn't have to regap the rings. But great question, Eric. Hugh, going back to high tide, the exhaust on our shirt is for restrictive. Are we getting started? I'll start with exhaust and tires. Yep, yep. 6.4 intake from street driven speed. Since Don mentioned it, Larry has a kit, imported ones as well. All right, yeah. I never heard of them, but that's pretty cool. If they have a kit that does it for you, that's pretty awesome. High tide have tires as well. Exhaust definitely next thing to do work on. All right, high tide, good deal, buddy. We all move the we all move the goalpost all the time, all the time. My goal is getting a stage 3 cam. All right, all right. Chris, for sure, goals changing. I only wanted to run with the 6th gen SRTs when I started. Yeah, my plan was always to stay NA, but it's change, and here I go spending money a couple times. But Hard Rock, thanks for this super chat, man. I appreciate it. I was just trying to get through the comments down to you. I don't want to skip a whole bunch of comments and then have to go figure out where I was and go back. But I definitely appreciate the support. Every red penny of that's going to go right back into Shake and Bake in some shape or form. That'll definitely help pay the bills on what I've already done with Shake and Bake. So thank you again. I appreciate it 100%. One bad plum. Never had any thought on compound boost. Started NA and then went boost. All right. Another thing you might find is that by the time you put all the upgrades you want on the car, it can be cheaper just to upgrade the car. Hugh, that's great advice, buddy. That's pretty good advice. Dells, which is a better differential for daily driving and occasional pulls, 309 or the 307? I like the 309s. Limited slip. I don't think the 307s are limited slip. I know mine on the sticker was like 308. I think it was like a 308. What do they call it? Open 308 open diff. But I would go for the 309 limited slip differential. Even for daily driving and occasional pulls, just go with the 309 limited slip. And that way, if you ever do go to the track, you already got the 309 in there. Alex, have you ever heard any feedback of Walker Induction Systems turbo packages? I have not, but I've seen them. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on their systems. So yeah, all I can say is, try and do some research, try and YouTube it, try and Google it. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Alex. I just don't have any experience with those turbo systems. Let's see. One bad plum's going back to Hugh. Yeah, always enjoyable having a 5.7 beating the newer stuff. That's true. That's true, Chris. It was a lot of fun when I was 5.7. But as y'all know, I left that behind me now. Mike, going back to Dell's 309's LSD, better for traction. Yep. Eric, modding is fun. No one said it was cheap. No one said it wasn't stressful. But modding is fun. There's no doubt about it. Dell's no real difference in performance between 309 307. What you want is a limited slip. Yep. High tide, definitely right. Eric, cage money. Yeah, see, that's another thing, right? As soon as I run an 8, the car needs a cage. Then I need, once it runs an 8, I need a cage, parachute, and then if we're gonna keep running 8s, I'm definitely upgrading the safety to get the harness in there, get the harness bar in there, and go with the Hans devices as well for safety. Once you get in the 8s, it's all about safety. Dales, okay, good deal. Thanks, guys. Again, Dales, that's what's Wednesday nights all about, man. Like I said, we got a lot of smart people, a lot of people with a lot of experience. I know One Bad Plum's been a tech for many years. I don't see Jay in here tonight. Mike always has a lot of input. Hugh has a lot of great input. Eric has a lot of great input. There's just a smattering of people that's in this chat every week that just amazes me. How they're already answering questions before by the time I get them, they already hit them up in the chat. But yeah, you get my comments a little late compared to they're putting their answers in the chat. It's just the way it goes. But yeah, this is what it's all about, man. Asking questions, getting info, doing your research, right? Don't forget to do your research online. Don't just take some of our words for it. Do your own research, and I always say go with your gut. If you're looking at something, online and you got that little squeamish in your gut, I'd think twice before doing it. I 100% go with my gut. Same thing with my hot girlfriend. If she's like, I don't think you should, she doesn't necessarily say flat out, I don't think you should go to the track. She'll say something like, I'll say, honey, what do you think about going to the track this weekend? She'll say, well, and then I already know. I already know she got a bad feeling. And when she has a bad feeling, I 100% listen to that bad feeling. So, if I say, hey, I'm going to go to the track this weekend, and she says, well, we're not going to the track this weekend. It's just that simple. I've learned over the 33, almost 34 years we've been married to trust her instincts. And learning to trust her instincts learned me to trust my own instincts, which is kind of funny. But I just say go with your gut. If it feels right, it's probably going to be, I don't want to say 100%, but it's probably going to be okay. But if you're a little squeamish, I'd think twice about doing it. High tide, definitely need a 309. Yep. All right, Murray, Joe, thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Safety stuff will be cool and nice content. Yep. But I'm really not looking to cage the car probably till next year sometime. And really maybe not even next year. Because once you put a cage in, then the daily drivability really tanks from there. Because just having to deal with a cage every day, driving it all the time, then it really becomes a no kidding race car at that point. Hard Rock, I believe it's 309 gear. My 21 Scat seems to be excellent, even if I push it. Could be. I'm not sure what the 2021 Scats come with, to be honest. Mike going. Mike going back to Alex. Mike Walker is definitely dedicated to his kits. I've been following for a bit. Haven't seen any negative reviews about him yet. He will even travel to do installs. Wow, that's interesting. Travel to install it. That's pretty cool. If you can get the developer guy to fly out there and install it, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've been really lucky. I really have. Um, I I guess maybe I'm still small enough that I don't get a lot of the haters in my comments. I don't get a whole lot of haters that come to my live. I have nothing but great people that have supported me the whole way. I don't know if APG is out there, Mike, Eric, Hugh. I'm missing a lot of people. Jay, Wide Body Mike, some other people. Ant in our chat, Alan in our chat. I've just been Mac, Stark Brothers. I've just been extremely, extremely lucky with the people that I've surrounded myself with. That they are all helpful and not a bunch of negative Nancy's. But yeah, it's been a great ride for sure. Hugh, what do I know about Mopar's I own Fords? But you know the deal, Hugh. Mechanic stuff is mechanical stuff, right? It's everybody's like, well, what can I do to my 6.4? Well, the same thing you can do to your 5.7 to a 5.7. It's the same stuff. Exhaust, blah, blah, cam, exhaust, long tube headers, blah, blah. It's the same stuff. It's just different platforms. But I know you sometimes it doesn't sound like I take a lot of your advice, but I really do listen to your advice. I don't take a lot of people's advice, to be honest. And I probably would be a lot better off if I did take some of that advice. But like I said, I'm one that goes with my gut, and what my gut says is kind of what I go with a lot of times. Eric sounds like a smart woman. She's definitely 100% a smart woman, no doubt. Hard Rock, Mama's happy, everybody's happy. That's right. Happy wife, happy life. It, she's not necessarily happy with everything I do, but she supports everything I do. And same way for me with her. Do I like everything she does? No, but do I support it? 100%. Do I harp on it and do we argue about it? No. We support each other in what each of us want to do in our own little lives, but yet we are still a couple. So that's what 33, almost 34 years of marriage will get you. You figure out, what nuances each of you have, and you just, I don't want to say deal with it, but that's what happens is you deal with it, and because you have your own nuances. So yeah, and really, here we go on marriage, right? But it's really about communication. It really is 100% communication. Eric, they make cages with low bars on side, so it's easier to get in. They do, and they also make the swing out bars too. But still, it's just once there's a cage, man, it just gets too much race car. No haters, we chase them out. Yep. That's why I usually have 3 Pedal J in here. And he's one of my moderators. I probably need to make a few other people moderators, so in case we do get those folks in the chat, that you guys can kick them out. Good vibes only. That's what I'm talking about. Chris, up here in Canada with my 07, technically already need a cage for mine at events. Yeah, I get it. The rules are a little different up there in Canada. But luckily mine's a 16, so I'm newer than a 14. So NHRA and IHRA rules, they did bend them a little bit just because of like the Teslas and the Demons and all these other cars running, mid low nines right off the showroom floor. You kind of saw it coming. They had to do something because you can't tell someone in a brand new car, oh, you ran a 9, kick them out. You need a cage. You need you need the cage. You need the chute and all this other stuff. So yeah, over there I don't think I can run quicker than 11.5 in an event due to year. Yeah, I'd have to look it up, Chris. I'm not 100% sure. I think you're pretty close. BPAT, I keep waking up later than usual for the lives, but I watch them back at work overnight. Glad Shake and Bake made it back with no major issues. Thanks, BPAT. I appreciate it, buddy. And I was 100%. We could have ran 13s all week long. And as long as I made it back and the car's still running with no issues, that would have been a win for me. I would have been just as happy as I am now, running low 10s and that 199 that we ran. That, like I said, that was my goal the whole time. Get there, race. Doesn't matter what times I ran. Race, get back, and the car's still good. Question: Demon hood or red eye hood for a Charger? I like the Demon hoods really. But the dual scoops on the red eye is nice too. I don't know. I could go either way. That's a good debate to have. That's a good debate to have. I forget what a red eye Charger looks like. It's got the dual scoops, just like the Challenger. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's something I would have to debate too. Eric, communication is key in a relationship, 100%. Eric likes the red eye hoods, obviously. Eric's asking if he's still got the RT for sale. Okay, red eye. There's a Hellcat hood on the Charger. I think it looks better than a Demon hood on a Charger. There you go. If you're running 8s, you can tune it back slower to bracket race. Absolutely 100%. So Mike still got his RT for sale, sitting on dollies in storage. Ruben, do you like underground tuning? I don't think I've looked into them. I haven't really heard a lot of them. So I'd hate to give you an opinion if I don't know or have done any research. I'll have to do some research. I had a couple people talk about underground tuning, so I may have to do some research and kind of see what I can find on them. Eric likes the Demon hood. Hard choice. I hear you. High Tide. That is kind of a tough choice. I like both. Can't miss with either. I kind of agree with Eric. Let's see. Do wraps get buzzed off from the car wash? I don't think so. I don't have any experience with that, but I don't think so. Hey, Ant, what's going on, buddy? Popping in the last minute. Yeah, you are in the last minute. The last 2 minutes. But thanks for showing up, buddy. I appreciate it. Heck, maybe one day I'll be able to get one. All right, Eric. Underground tuning more like for burbles and flames and extra 60 horsepower tunes. Yeah, I'm not a big burbles flames guy. That kind of wreaks havoc with your engine because you're doing some really funky things that the car's not designed to do. Um, so yeah, like I said, I'm not a burbles flame kind of guy. I mean, yeah, okay, burbles are cool, flames are cool, but when it comes to the racing side of the house, those are performance killers. I hear you, Ant. I know you've been busy, buddy. You got all kinds of things. You got all kinds of things going on. But I appreciate you taking the time to come in real quick. Hard rock, if it's done right, it shouldn't. Oh, that's about the rap. I wouldn't think they would. They shouldn't. Yeah, like Ari said, if it's done right, they shouldn't. They shouldn't come off. I may trade it to Street Dipping to get your scat built. Yeah, there you go. Hard rock going back to Eric. Yeah, everything you see out there says you shouldn't be going to car washes, but come on, just about everybody does it. At least once every once in a while, you get lazy, you go to the car wash. Or Mike can give to me need flooring done. All right, Eric. We're right at 10 o'clock. Last comment. Using Cetera now, like their content and talking with them, really seem to know their stuff. They suggested compound boost with boost down low and then turbos kick in. Still deciding. Looking quick low end more than top end. So, Randy, so you're looking more of the daily driver stuff. I would just go with the Maggie. You'll be plenty happy with that. Maggie is a positive displacement blower, kind of that. I always call it the Hellcat experience, where you got all that power down low in the usable range that you're daily driving. Like they say, turbos don't kick in until after. Uh, it just depends how you spool them up. They're coming in at 3,000, 3,500. Where normally daily driving, you're not in that RPM range. Um, but it sounds like you're more of a daily driver kind of guy. So I would just go with the Maggie and be happy. I really would. Here comes Chris backing me up. I appreciate it. One bad plum backing me up. But all right, folks, it is past 10 o'clock. It's 10:01. I gave you all an extra minute. But hey, I appreciate everyone chiming in and Hard Rock, for the super chat. I 100% appreciate that. Like I said, uh, every red penny from YouTube goes right back into Shake and Bake, man. It really does. I promise you that in some shape or form. It may go to a credit card bill, but that credit card bill is because of Shake and Bake. Because of Shake and Bake. But I definitely appreciate y'all support. I love these Wednesday nights, man. It's always fun, always a good time. You guys always keep me chatting for an hour. I mean, you really do. And I'm glad you guys enjoy these weeklies. Um, some people be like, "Yeah, this is getting old." You guys talk. Sometimes we talk about the same subject we talked about last week. But hey, someone asked the question, we're gonna give them an answer. And we're gonna give the best answer we can. So, but again, appreciate everyone watching the channel. Hopefully, we'll get to the track this weekend. We'll see how it goes. And Ant, if I go to Capital, man, you better come out there and help me out. But that's going to do it for this one, folks. Till next time, adios.